Once upon a time, scooters, skateboards and bicycles were vehicles reserved exclusively for use by small children and lycra-clad adults. But not anymore. Advances in battery technology mean that these modes of transportation can now be motorized, and in recent years the personal electric vehicle has rapidly become a common sight on city streets around the world. This is no passing craze or gimmick. It is the beginning of a transport revolution that will eventually shape how our streets look, and it's awesome. I'm Jack, and today I'm going to share a few excellent reasons why you should consider buying a personal electric vehicle for your daily commute. And by the way, just to save me having to say personal electric vehicle like 9 million times in this video, from here on I'm going to refer to them as PEVs or PEVs. Okay, let's begin with the big germy elephant in the room, which is that there's a pandemic happening currently, and it's looking a lot like the way we interact in public is going to be very different for the foreseeable future. And by the way, if you're watching this video in the future and the coronavirus thing is no longer happening, feel free to skip this section of the video, or watch it and enjoy a reminder of that time when everything sucked and we all had terrible DIY haircuts. At the time of recording this video, many parts of the world are slowly beginning to emerge from lockdown, and one of the big concerns a lot of people have, particularly those of us who live in built-up areas, regards what will happen when we go back to work, or more specifically, how we're going to get back to work. Public transport and social distancing don't exactly go together, especially during rush hour. To use my city, London, as an example, the UK government has estimated that the average London Underground train carriage during peak rush hour is about 10 times too busy for effective social distancing to be maintained. These numbers will of course vary city to city, country to country, but the bottom line is this: taking public transport to work should now be considered a health risk and avoided where possible. One of the best ways to do that is with some form of personal electric vehicle. And the good news is that if your journey to work is, let's say, less than 10 to 15 miles, you are absolutely spoilt for choice. There is an array of weird and wonderful electric vehicles that can easily cover that sort of distance. If your route to work is, let's say, 20 to 25 miles, some of the more portable, lighter electric vehicles won't quite be right for you, but there are still plenty of e-bikes and scooters that can cover that distance no problem. Exactly which kind of electric vehicle is right for you entirely depends on your personal use case, and we're actually going to do a whole separate video on that very soon, so be sure to subscribe if you want to see that. Also, before people blast me in the comments, I should caveat this by saying that of course a busy city street isn't the easiest place to self-isolate either, but it is significantly better than public transport. If you take a PEV to work, you can select your route to avoid busy areas, and you can leave additional distance between yourself and other road users. You just have a lot more control over the situation than you would on public transport. Yes, the benefits of swapping out public transport for a PEV go beyond social distancing. I have personally found it to be hugely beneficial for my mental health. Why? Well, because it's just a much more pleasant way to start and end your day. I used to wake up every morning dreading the journey to work and would often arrive at work grumpy because my train was delayed, or someone had stepped on my foot, or on one particular occasion, a baby sneezed in my mouth. Now, and this is something only PEV owners say, I look forward to the journey into work. Because instead of having to spend 30 minutes stood in an underground tube of farts, I get to zip through the city on a really fun electric vehicle, enjoying the sights and scenes, getting a bit of fresh air. It's so much better. Moving on from the health-related stuff, another huge benefit of riding to work on a PEV is it's really cheap. Aside from the upfront cost of purchasing the vehicle itself, it's practically free. To give you some idea, the average electric scooter costs around 15 to 30 pence to fully charge. And if you're someone who's become used to shelling out £5 or more a day on public transport, you're going to notice this saving very quickly. In fact, unless you've bought something especially fancy, your PEV could well have paid itself off inside of a few months. That being said, I do strongly recommend spending a little bit extra money at the beginning in order to buy a higher quality product. It goes without saying that you get what you pay for when it comes to e-mobility, and generally speaking, the cheaper stuff is the least safe. Now, at this point in the video, some of you may well be thinking, yes, I'd love to stop riding public transport to work, and yes, I enjoy the wind in my hair, so why don't I just ride my regular old bicycle that's sitting in my shed? My answer to that is, hey, great, do. If your route allows for it and you're physically able to, there's no better way to get to work than cycling. But there is one significant advantage PEVs have over cycling in particular that I feel I must mention. You don't get sweaty. I ride my bike to work all the time and I love it. It's great exercise and it makes me feel less bad about how often I skip the gym and eat an entire packet of digestives for dinner. But typically, by the time I arrive at work, I'm drenched. And if you work somewhere where you're expected to look presentable or, you know, not stink all day, you're gonna have to shower when you get there, you're gonna have to bring an extra change of clothes. It's a bit of a faff. With a personal electric vehicle, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff. You can leave your house suited and booted and arrive at work looking and feeling fresh. It's very convenient. Unless it rains, but then you could buy one of those umbrella hats and then you'd be stylish and functional. Now, there are way more advantages to owning a PEV than the ones I've mentioned in this video, but the rest are kind of specific to certain kinds of electric vehicle. So again, we'll save those for later. But one more very general advantage that I just have to mention is that they are so fun. As well as being a really practical way of getting to work, PEVs are so addictive, and I promise you, whether you buy a bike or a board, a scooter or a unicycle, you're going to use it for a lot more than just your daily commute. You're going to find yourself looking for excuses to pop to the shops or go for a nice long ride on the weekends. Some of you are going to go full nerd like me and find yourselves joining Facebook groups for like-minded enthusiasts and attending group rides. It's a slippery slope, my friends. I'm going to stop talking now before I scare you normal people off, but my point is that a personal electric vehicle is just a really great thing to own, and as well as transforming your commute, it's going to become your favourite gadget. Now, I need to finish with a quick word of warning regarding safety, because it goes without saying that, just like cycling, riding a PEV can be dangerous, especially when inadequate infrastructure means you're forced to share the road with cars. I truly believe that we're at the beginning of a transport revolution, and a few years from now, our cities will look completely different. Less cars, bigger pavements, special lanes for electric stuff, who knows? But we're not there yet. So in the meantime, just like cycling, be extremely careful and don't consider riding a PEV to work unless you understand the rules of the road and are willing to follow them. Oh, also, hi, me again. One thing I forgot to say is legality. You need to make sure that whatever you want to buy is actually legal in your country before you buy it, because sadly they're not all legal in all places yet. Case in point, in the UK where I live, our legislation is hopelessly outdated and electric scooters are totally illegal both on the pavement and in the streets. Fortunately, it's looking like that law is going to change very soon, but I digress. My point is, before you buy anything, check the law in your country. And there we have it. Those are just a few reasons why I think you should consider buying a personal electric vehicle for your daily commute. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe. We're going to do lots more on this topic. And in the meantime, if you have any questions regarding personal electric vehicles, just leave a comment down below. We'd be very happy to help. Cheers.